Well, welcome to the 27th chapter of the book of Matthew, and we're continuing. Jesus has been arrested and taken to the chief priests, and it continues in verse 1, Proias the genomenes, and morning having become, Symvulion elevon Pontus Iarchiaris. All the chief priests took counsel, Kei presbyteri, and the elders to leu, Kata to Isu, oste thanatose avton, and the elders of the people against Jesus so as to put him to death. They're not interested in finding if he's innocent or guilty. They want to kill him. And that is, they have paid Judas 30 pieces of silver to deliver him up, and that's exactly what happened. Ke thisantes avton, and having bound him apigagon they took, ke paredoken avton Pontio Pilato to igimoni. They took him to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Igimoni, a hegemon, is the derivative. There's a lot about Pontius Pilate in a Wikipedia article here, and I can't go through everything about Pontius Pilate. You can read all these things about him, his service to Rome, and how he ended up and where he ended up and so forth. And so the Roman governor now has Jesus, but it goes and switches subjects over to back to Judas. Tote idon Judas o paradedus avton, oti katakrithi, and Judas, the one delivering him up, beholding that he was condemned, Jesus that is, metamalithis, changed his mind. Now, how he changed his mind, only Judas knows, but he changed his attitude so as apestrepse ta triakon ta argyria tis archiarevsi ke tis presbyteris, so as to return the 30 silver pieces to the chief priests and the elders. So he goes to the temple. Jesus is in front of Pilate and throws the money, or trying to give him the money, and back to the Jewish rulers to alleviate his guilt. And he's legon, saying, Imarton, I sinned. Paradus ema athoon, having delivered up innocent blood. He knew that Jesus was innocent, and he knew that he sinned. Ide ipon, but they said, Ti prosimas, what is that to us? Why do we care? Si opsi, you see to that. Ke oripsas ta argyria into neo, and having tossed the silver pieces in the temple, anachorison, he withdrew. Ke apelthon apingsato, having gone forth, he hung himself, committed suicide. Just feeling sorry that you have done something, when realizing that you have sinned doesn't take care of your sin. What does? The forgiveness of sins that was offered through Jesus. But this man felt guilty, so guilty he couldn't come to Jesus. If he could have, I think Jesus would have forgiven him, even of what he did. But Jesus saw that this man did not have repentance in him. He just wanted to get away from his guilt, so he committed suicide. But the archiaris lavontes ta argyria, having taken the silver pieces, Epon said, Uk exesti valin av ta is ton korbanon epi timi ematos esti. It is not allowed to throw them into the korban offering when it is the value for blood. Well, they're more guilty than this man is by throwing the silver. They're the ones that are spilling innocent blood, and yet their hypocrisy is so great now that they don't even see what they're doing. If they do, their conscience is seared, and they want to get rid of Jesus, and they say that the value of blood. Well, they've 1,000 times more guilty than Judas in a way. Symvulion they lavontes, Igora, and taking counsel, Igoras and exav ton agron to Herameos is tafin, tis xenis. And taking counsel, they bought from them the field of the potter for a burial ground for strangers. We're told in Acts 1:19, it says called Akeldama, the place of blood. Became a known place after this all occurred. Theo eklethi o agros akinos agros ematos Akeldama eos te simron. A little bit more, like I mentioned in Acts 1:19 on that. 27:9. Tote eplirothi torithen dia eramiu to profitu legontes. Then was fulfilled the thing having been spoken through Jeremiah the prophet, saying, and this is a saying, Ke elavon ta triakon ta argiria. I took the 30 pieces, silver pieces, timin to tetime menu, the value of the one being valued, on etimi santo apo ion Israel, who is valued by the sons of Israel. Lots of people have been looking for this statement in Jeremiah and haven't found it. And I haven't found it either. That's why there's no cross here where it shows it. Whether there was some other place that he had said this or spoke it and people knew, I don't know. There's a lot of commentaries you can read on this subject. In verse 10, Ke edoken afta is ton agron to Kerameos, and they gave them for the field of the potter. Katha sinetakse me Kyrios, as the Lord gave orders to me. Now back to Pontius Pilate. O de Iisus esti empros then to igimonos. Then Jesus stood before the governor. Ke epirotis en avton I egimon, and the governor asked him, legon, saying, Si o vasoleston iutheon? Are you the king of the Jews? O de Iisus epi avto. And Jesus said to him, Si legis, you said it. Ke ento categoriste avton ipo ton archaeoreon ke ton presbyteron, and in the charging him by the chief priests and the elders, who then apakrinato, he answered nothing. Tote legi avto o Pilatos. Then Pilate says to him, Uk acuis posa su katamartirusin? Do you not hear acoustics, derivative, how much they witness against you? In verse 14, Ke uk apakrithi avto, and he answered not to him. Pros ude en rimas, to not even one word. Oste thav mazin ton igimona leon, so that the governor marveled exceedingly. He's not giving a defense. He agreed that he was king. So it wasn't that he was completely silent. Kata the iortin I othi, o igimon, apolin ena to oklo thesmion. And according to the holiday, the governor was accustomed to release one prisoner to the multitude, on Ethelon, whom they wanted. Verse 16, Ikon they tote thesmion episimos, and they had then a notorious prisoner, legomenon varavan, being called Barabbas. So he was notorious. Everybody heard about him. Verse 17, sinigmenon un afton, then of their being gathered together, ipanaftis o Pilatos, Pilate said to them, Tina thelate apoliso imin, whom do you want I release to you? Varavan? Iisun ton legomenon Christon, Barabbas or Jesus, the one being called Christ. He understood this claim that Jesus is making, and he's saying this. And all the Jews knew who Christ was. They taught the Christ, the Messiah, coming many, many places. So they knew, and this man is claiming to be. So they have knowledge that he is Christ. Verse 18, Idigar oti thea phthonon paredo kanafton, for he knew that on account of envy they delivered him up. So even Pilate can see through their hypocrisy. Kati menu they aftu epi tu vimatos, and of his sitting down upon the rostrum, the bema seat, apestole prosafton igini aftu. His wife sent to him legusa, saying, Me then see que to dikeo aquino, let there be nothing between you and that just one. She knows he's just also. So there's two of them, even though the Jewish hierarchy wants to kill him. Polagar epathon simeron kat honor the afton, for I suffered much today by a dream concerning him. So the wife of Pilate may have been she was a witness of all these things, and she may very well have become a believer, and she may very well have given inside information exactly what was going on, how it was said and done. Just my speculation, but it's a possibility. Ide archiaris ke I presbyteri epi santos tus oculus ina etisonte ton varavan. But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitudes that they should ask for Barabbas. So now all the multitude is coming, all these people, more so than just the hierarchy. Before it was just the rulers, but now the multitude are being talked into it. Tonde I soon apolesosen. They should ask for Barabbas, and Jesus should perish. Apokrithiste o igimon ipen aftis. And responding, the governor said to them, all these, Tina thelate apoton theo apoliso imin. Who do you want from the two I should release to you? A duo. Ide ipen varavan. And they said, Barabbas. Legiaftis o Pilatos. Pilate says to them, Tiun piso isun ton legomenon Christon. What then shall I do with Jesus, the one being called Christ? Pontus, legusin afto Pontus, stavro thito. All say to him, say to him, let him be crucified. So all these people are saying, let him be crucified. So it turns into a frenzy. Oh, the igimon efi. And the governor said, Tigar kakom episen. For what evil did he do? Kaka is bad. Ide perisos ekrazon. And they more extremely cried out, legontes, stavrothito, saying, let him be crucified. They're crying out extremely more. And so they're in a frenzy for blood. They are hating him. They wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't some type of a hatred of somebody that you want to kill. And the whole mob, they're just all up in uproar to go and kill this man. Idom they o Pilatos oti uthen opheli. And Pilate, seeing that in nothing he derived benefit, ala malon thorivos genite, but rather it became a tumult, lavon idor, having taken water, an apenipsato tas hieras apenanti tu oklu. He washed his hands before the multitude, like that's really going to get rid of his blood guilt. It's not, but he thinks it is. He's a Roman, and this is what he thought he could do and get away with it. What he's going to allow happen. Legon saying, "Athosimi apotu ematos tu dikeu tutu." I am innocent of the blood of this just one. No, he's not innocent at all. He's going along with it. He's lying to himself. Emis opsis the. Yeah, you shall see to it. So he throws it on to them. Ke apokrithis pas oleos epe. And responding, all the people said, wow, this is a really heavy thing that they said. Ema avtu ephimas. Ke epi ta tekna imon. His blood is upon us and upon our children. The progeny of the crucifiers. The curse is on the progeny of the crucifiers. And if these people that have this curse on them realize that this is a curse, and they hopefully they'll come to see what they have done and what their forefathers had did, and be released from this curse, which a lot of the people that saw what was going on weren't part of this crowd that wanted to crucify him. And these people became the early church, 100% Jewish. And they amalgamated into the other people, to the nations, and lost their Jewishness. But the ones that kept it, and they know that Jesus is who he is, that he's, we'll see here as it continues on. And in in Isaiah 50.6, it says, I'll read that to you. My back I have given to whips, and my jaws for slaps. In my face I turn not from the shame of one's spitting. So the Jews saw, even Isaiah saw what's going on. And these people are the ones doing exactly what Isaiah said. They're guilty as could be. And anybody that continues with this falseness of denying the Christ as the Messiah is still guilty. And but you can get rid of this guilt by falling at the feet of Jesus and asking for his forgiveness, and then doing what he says. Tote apelisan aptis ton varavan. Then he released to them Barabbas. Ton de soon pharangelosis. And scourging Jesus, they beat him with the whips, and it says they had little pieces of stone and things on him, and just tortured him by beating him with the whips and tearing open this flesh. And so after scourging him, paredokan ina stavrothi, he delivered him up that he should be crucified. That is Pontius Pilate. Tote stratiote tu igimonos. Then the soldiers of the governor, paralavontes ton soon isto praetorion, sinigagon epafton olin tin spiran. Then the soldiers of the governor, having taken with them Jesus to the praetorium, there's a transliteration, gathered against him all the cohort. So all these Roman soldiers now have Jesus. Ke ek thisantes avton, and stripping him, periethican avto chlamida, kokinin. They put on him a scarlet military cloak. Scarlet. It's probably maybe a centurion. Maybe it was an old one they were going to throw away, because I don't think they would have put a new one on here with all the blood and everything that had Jesus on his back. And so, but they take this military cloak and they put it on him. Ke plexantes Stephanon ex acanthon, and having plaited a crown, Stephan means crown, from out of thorns. Acanaceous is a plant that has thorns. Epithecon epi tin kephalin avtu, they placed it upon his head. Ke kalamon epi tin vexian avtu, and a reed in his right hand. This reed is like the rhabdos, the rod of that a centurion would be carrying, that showed the authority that he had. And they put this in his hand, making fun of him like he's of a lot of authority, and look at where his authority is leading him to, and making fun of him. Ke goni petisantes empros thenaf tu, and epaizon afto. And kneeling before him, they mocked him, legontes, Hereo vasilevs ton iodeon, hail, King of the Jews. Ke eptisantes isafton, and having spit on him, elevanton kalamon, they took the reed. Ke etipton istin kephalin aftu, and beat upon his head. They beat on his head. Ke ote enepexen afto, exedison afton tin halamida. They took the military cloak off him. Ke enedison afton ta imati aftu, and they put his garments on him. Ke apegigan afton isto stavrose, and took him to be crucified. There's another place in the Bible I want to read to you, and it's in Isaiah 57:17. On account of sin, a little in anything I grieved him, and I struck him, and I turned my face from him, and I was grieved, and he went gloomy in his ways. So Jesus is now being crucified. Exerhomeni they, and going forth, Evron anthropon Kyrineon, a Cyrenian man, like over in Libya, that's where that was. Onomati Simona, by Simon, by name Simon. Cyrenia was east of Egypt, west of Egypt. Tuton Igarav son, Ina Ari ton Stavron avtu. This one they conscripted that he should bear his cross. They just grabbed somebody out of the crowd and made him do this. Jesus apparently was unable to carry it, and so they found somebody to carry it for him. What an honor for this man Simon to be carrying the cross. That even an honor in that he was allowed to do something for Christ. Ke elthontes is topon legomenon Golgotha, and having come into a place being called Golgotha, topon, topography is a derivative, o esti legomenos, which is being called craniou topos, the place of the skull. A cranium is the derivative. Edoken afto pein oxos metaholis memigmeno. They gave to him vinegar to drink, with bile being mixed. Bile was basically vomit. There was vinegar and vomit. This is what they're giving him. Ke gevsamenos, and having tasted, uk ithele, peeing to drink. He did not want to drink. So everything was just worse and worse. Being nailed up to the cross and then having these people made fun of you, and it was just horrible. And this was all for us. He went through it because he knew this is the only way. Stavrosantes the afton, having crucified him, the amiri santo taimatia aftu, they divided his garments, volontas kleron, casting a lot, kleron, a cleric. They were originally chosen by lots. Ina plirothi torithan ipo tu profitu. That should be fulfilled the thing, having been spoken by the prophet. And this was in Isaiah 57:17. Let's go down to the bottom. Let me see, 27:35. We'll show you down here. Yes, 27 Psalms 22:18. Sorry, and that they should be filled with the thing having been spoken by the prophet. They are miris, they divided my garments among themselves. Ke api toni matis mon mu, evelon a lot, they cast a lot. Ke kathimenon etirun afton eki, and sitting down they kept him there. Watched, make sure everything is going to the way of plan of the death of the person being crucified. Ke apethikon apano tis kephalis aftu, tin a tian aftu, gegramenin. And they placed above his head his accusation being written, Utos estin Isus obasaleth ton iutheon. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Other places men complain about being called the King of the Jews, but Pilate said aloud to him, what I wrote I've written. Tote stav runte sin afto theoliste. Then were crucified with him two robbers, is ek dexion ke is ex evonimon, one at his right and one at his left. Ide paraporevomeni evas fimi mun afton. And the ones coming near blasphemed him. That's a transliteration there. Kinuntas, kinetics, is a derivative. Shaking tas kephalasavton, shaking their head and blaspheming. Ke legontas, and saying, O kata leon ton neon, O one destroying the temple. Ke in 3 meris ikodomon, and in 3 days rebuilding it. Soson siavton, deliver yourself. Ios I tu theou, if you are the Son of God. Katavithi apo tu stavru. Come down from the cross. The exclamation. Imperative. Come down from the cross if you're this, who you say you are. And they're yelling at him. Omios they ke archiaris. And in like manner, the chief priests empezontes, mocking. They're not giving up. Now they're going to the scene of what they're bringing about. With metaton grammateon, with the scribes ke presbyteron. They're all coming to see how successful they have been. Elegon, and they said, Alus esos, and others he delivered, iafton u dhinate sose. Himself he is not able to deliver. Well, he was able, but he decided not to for the sins of the world. Ivasilefs Israel, now they know that he's not only claims for himself to be a Son of God, but they, in verse 40 and 42 here, they know that he's the King of Israel. So they realize that he's the Christ, the Son of God, and the King. A lot of the disciples didn't even understand this, but they knew exactly what he was saying that he was. Vasilefs Israel esti, if he is King of Israel, katavato nin apo tu stavru. Let him come down now from the cross. Ke pistevsomen ep avto, and we will believe upon him. Well, that's, who knows? I doubt that even then. Pepithen epiton theon. He relied upon God. Risasto nin avton. Let him rescue him now. Etheliavton, if he wants him. Ipegar oti theu imi eos, for he said that I am Son of God. See, they knew that he said he was the Son of God. All these things, a King and a Christ. Verse 44, Toda avto ke iles liste I sistavromthentes avto, oni the zone avton. In the same way also the robbers being crucified along with him berated him. Now it says in the plural, the robbers, both of them, they were berating him. So somewhere along the line, one of them had a change of heart and realized that he was God, because he wanted him a king. He wanted to be, maybe after hearing these, maybe he didn't know and he was making fun of him. Then all of a sudden he started thinking, and God's Holy Spirit came upon that other robber and cause the change. God's Holy Spirit can come on anybody and make the change. And so now it's apo the ektis oris, and from the 6th hour darkness, skotos ageneto epi pasentigin eos oras enatis. So from the 6th hour, darkness came upon all the land until the 9th hour. That's 3 hours. All of a sudden, this darkness came, and God, the Father, is bringing darkness, and this is what's happening to Jesus as he's on this cross. It's darkening and getting darker and darker. Peride tin enatin oran anivoisen o Isus phoni megali. And around the 9th hour, Jesus yelled out with a great voice, phoni, a phone, megali, mega, with a great voice, legon, saying, Eli, Eli, lima sabachthani. That is, my God, why have you abandoned me? This is in Aramaic. This is what they were speaking. And the Aramaic and the Greek and the Latin were the words that were above him. And why have you abandoned me? Jesus was he abandoned? He was for a period of time. He was possibly went down into the Hades and brought people up at that time and visited them. There's a little bit, I think we get into Peter on that. But Jesus did say these words. In 47, and some, and some of the ones, Aki estoten, akusantes, and some of the ones standing there having said, Eleganoti said that, Elian phoni utos, this one calls Elijah. Ke of theos dramon is exafton, and immediately one from out of them running, ke lavon spongon, and taking a sponge, that's a direct transliteration, plirsas te oxus, filling also of vinegar, ke perithis kalamo, and putting it on a reed, epotizan afton, gave him to drink. So he put this vinegar up. Now it doesn't have this bile, horrible vomit in it. Put it up to his mouth. Ide lipi elegan, and the rest said, Aphis, let go. Idomen erkete Elias so son afton. We should see if Elijah comes to delivering him. O de Jesus, but in Jesus, palin kraxus phoni megali. Again, having cried out with a great voice, is the first time. Afike topenevma. Let go with the Spirit, or a great sound. It should be right here instead of a voice, because it doesn't sound like it was a word, but with a great sound. A phoni can be either a sound or a voice. He let go and cried out with a great sound. He let go the pneuma, the breath of life in his body. And I believe that's what it's talking about, not the Holy Spirit. Keidu, and behold, tokata petasma tuneu eskisti is theo apo anothen eos kato. And behold, the veil of the temple was split into two from above unto below. Anothen is above. And this is where it says, Jesus said to Nicodemus, a person has to be born anothen, from above, not again. Although there is a place in Peter where it does talk about being born again. So that is a correct statement, but it's not the statement that's in John with Nicodemus. In the veil of the temple, I'm going to read a little bit of Edersheim here. It's such a great book. It's The Life and Times of Jesus the Messiah. Hope you can get it to see that there, and it focuses in. And he's a rabbi that became a Christian in the 1800s. And he talks about this, the veils. And he knows so much about the history of the Jews, more so than most of us will ever know, because he was a rabbi and he understood the Torah and all the teachings. And according to an account dating from temple times, there were altogether 13 veils used in various parts of the temple. 2 new ones being made every year. The veils before the most holy place were 60 feet long and 30 feet wide. There may have been 2 of them. Of the thickness of the palm of a hand. They were this thick. And were made in 72 squares, which were joined together. And these veils were so heavy that in the exaggerated language of the time, it needed 300 priests to manipulate each. If the veil was at all torn by a mere earthquake or by the fall of the lintel, although its composition in squares fastened together might explain how the rent might be described in the gospel. So this was not a small veil that you're thinking, like a lady wears, but this was a huge veil. Keta menemia son. And the tombs were open. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean at this particular time. It could have been later that this happened, but it was around this time. Ke pola somata ton kekimimenon agion igerthi. And many bodies of the Holy Ones sleeping arose. Ke exelthontes ek ton minimion, and having come forth from out of the tombs, metatin egersin aftu, after his rising up, isilthon is tin agion polin, they entered into the holy city. Ke enaphanis theson polis, and were revealed to many. So many of these people came out, rose up. Wow, that's amazing when you people were seeing these people that they came out of the tombs, and what were they telling? Only God knows, but they were revealing things to people that probably the Christians needed to hear by God. See this power of God that was at work. So, and then in 54, Ode ekaton tarkos, and the centurion, Kei Medav too, and the ones with him, Tiruntus ton, keeping guard over Jesus, Edontes ton seismon, having beheld the earthquake, a seismic, is a derivative, Kei tagenomena, and the things happening, Ephovithi sphodra, feared exceedingly legontes, saying, Alithos theou eos in utos. Truly, this was Son of God. It'd be interesting to know what happened to that centurion, if he was one that appeared other places in the Bible. We're not really told, but Isen de aki ginekas poli apo makrothan theoruse, and there were many women there from far off viewing. Etinas ikolu thesento isu apotis Galileas, who followed Jesus from Galilee, way up north. Diakonuse avto, a deacon is the derivative, serving to him. En eis in Maria e Magdalene, whom was Mary the Magdalene, ke Maria e to Iakovu, ke Iosi, Metir, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, ke Metir, ton Ion Zebedeu, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. And then there was Mary and Martha. There's like 4, and then the mother would be 5. All these Marys. Mary. Opsias the genomenes, and evening having become, Ilthen anthropos plusios apo Arimatheas, a rich man from Arimathea, Tunoma Iosif, by name Joseph, oske avtos, emathetev se to Isu, who also himself was discipled by Jesus. It says that he was a secret disciple, not any longer, but I think that was in John. And also it says he was a lawyer, and he was a good man and just who waited for the kingdom. Now, this man is a perfect role model for the Jews today. If you see this man Joseph, who is a Jew, he was just in doing all these things. Take him as a role model. He believed in Jesus. All the early Jews believed in, not all the early Jews believed it, but all the people that did believe early were Jews. And so if you're a Jew and you're seeing this and you have been told all these evil things about Jesus, take it to heart that this is can be changed, that you can come to the Lord. And just as this Joseph, who was discipled, who was actually hidden a secret, but now he's in the open, and so can you come forward. And this one having come forward to Pilate, iti sato tosoma tu Isu, ask the body of Jesus. So now he's not hiding anymore. He's coming and asking Pilate for the body of Jesus, putting himself in harm's way. Tote o Pilatos ekelevsen apodothine tosoma. Then Pilate bid to give the body. Ke lavon tosoma, and having taken the body, O Iosif and atiliksen avto Sidoni kathara. Joseph swathed it with pure fine linen. Another place we're told that Nicodemus joined with Joseph here in wrapping. So these two men were high up in the Jewish hierarchy, and they were following Jesus, Nicodemus and Joseph. Ke ethikan avto in tokeno avtu minimio, and he placed it in his new sepulchre, O elatomison inti Petra, which he quarried in the rock. So it sounds like he was the one who busted the stone himself. Maybe, maybe not. Petra is a rock, petroglyph, writing on a rock. Ke pros skilisas lithon megan, and having rolled a great stone, ti thira to minimiu, and having rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre apilthan, he went forth. So now these maybe helped with Nicodemus, and they put this giant stone there, and they take off. In the aki Maria I Magdalene ke I ali Maria kathimene apenanti tu tafu, and was there Mary the Magdalene and the other Mary, which one I'm not sure, sitting down before the tomb. Ti de pavrion, and the next day, itis esti meta tin paraskevin, which is after the preparation, sinik thisan I archiaris ke I pharisei pros Pilaton, were gathered together the chief priests and the Pharisees to Pilate. So they're still on a case of Jesus, trying to destroy everything about him. And they said, Legontes, Kyrie emnistimen oti akinos o planos ipen. O Master, we remember that deluded one said, etizon, while still living, meta tris imeris agirome, after 3 days I arise. Kelevson sin asphalisthine ton taphon eostis tritus imeris. Bid then to safeguard the tomb until the 3rd day. They wanted Roman soldiers to come there and safeguard the tomb, because they knew that Jesus said he is going to arise. His disciples didn't understand this, but his enemies did. They were told by the evil one, I'm sure. Mipote elthontus imathite avtu niktos klepsosin ton, lest at any time his disciples coming at night should steal it. Ke iposito leo, and should say to the people, Egerthi apo ton necron, he has risen from the dead ones. Now if they would have put the Roman soldiers there and something would have happened, they could have blamed it on the Roman soldiers drinking and having a party and who knows what. So it would have been really easier for them to blame the Romans. Ke este iascati plani hieron tis protis, and will be the last delusion worse than the first. Ephi they avtis o Pilatos, Pilate said to them, Ekete custodian, you have a custodial guard. This is a Jewish guard, not Roman. Ipagate, go away. Asphalisas theos, you safeguard as you know, idate. Ide pro porev thentes isphalisanto ton taphon. And the ones having guard safeguarded the tomb, the Jews. Sphragisantes ton lithon meta tis custodias, setting a seal upon the stone by the custodial guard. So they put a seal on this, some type of a wax, I'm not sure what it was, and this guard was in front. If this was the end, 27 was the end, then it would all be worth interesting story about a man who died. But fortunately, there's one more chapter to go in chapter 28, and hope that you'll join us for the final chapter in the book of Matthew. God bless.